Trevor's driven a couple of these 750 horsepower Volvos out in the highways over the past couple of years, but it's taken until now for one of these big Swedes to make it into the bush. Barry Hermanson's truck is working out of Whirinaki, so it's got plenty of hill country nearby to contend with on a regular basis. Trevor takes up the drive after loading out way up Pohokura Road, north of the Napier-Taupo Highway. In other words, way at the back of Beyond. Barry's convertible unit is set up to cart 18-metre stems, so we've got a load of around 8 logs on, weighing out to about 45 tonne. Climbing up into the big Volvo cab is a breeze, despite the fact Trevor's only a few weeks out of a shoulder replacement operation, so he's a bit weak in the left arm. The good, wide steps and the full-length grab handle up the right-hand side of the door opening, combined with a nice, wide-opening door, make it easy. Once you're in the cab, it's easy to forget you're in a log truck with a high-quality interior cab finish in this full sleeper cab model. There's been a bit of rain over the past few weeks, and there's not a lot of metal on Pohokura Road, so it looks slippery in places, and on a few occasions the slippery road warning activates on the dash. Scooby, the truck's regular driver, has come back from his holidays for the morning to give us his thoughts and advice on the operation of the big Volvo. He recommends manual for the off-road section to run, which includes a forestry road and the corrugated gravel of the Pohokura and Waitrua roads. It's good advice. Trevor takes off in auto, but immediately finds the truck's trying to change up more gears than he really wanted to, so immediately follows Scooby's advice and drops it back in a manual. There are a few good climbs on the way up, but they really are a non-event when the power and torque of the 750 engine hits them. There's 3,550 newton metres of torque, constant between 1,000 and 1,400 RPM, so there's a great rev range available to enjoy the engine's peak performance. Going to manual is no big hardship. With a touch on the toggle switch on the side of the gear stick, it's a gear up or a gear down instantly. On the run out, the lowest gear needed is 7th, and Trevor lets it drop down to 1,100 RPM with no need to grab more gears. On the steepest climbs, it drops to 35 k's an hour, which is impressive given that there are some pretty steep climbs. At the wheel, it's easy to forget you're on gravel and dirt roads, as the ride in the cab insulates you from the bumpy road surface, but you do have to keep that in mind. While you're riding along, floating on air, the truck and trailer suspension is working overtime on the corrugations, so Trevor backs off to avoid knocking the gear around too much. Visibility out of the cab is excellent, with the dash sloping away down to the bottom of the windscreen, giving plenty of forward vision. The excellent mirrors offer great vision down the sides of the truck and trailer on these tight winding roads. The ride is great, the seats give great support, and all controls are close at hand. With only 2 pedals on the floor, there's plenty of legroom too, and you need it because your left leg doesn't really do much. When driving this beast, you don't need to keep your foot into it hard, as it really is a bit of a Sunday cruise with so much horsepower and torque on tap. Noise levels in the cab are excellent despite the rough road surface, and the giant engine underneath, with normal voice levels easily heard. The Patchell 4-axle trailer tracks well despite the 18-metre logs on board, but you do need to keep an eye on the insides of the corners given the slippery conditions. On the downhills, the engine brake keeps it well under control no matter how steep the drop. Trevor leaves it on stage 3, the highest setting, and keeps an eye on it just in case it might work too well on the slippery road surface, as Trevor gets the feeling it could easily lock up a wheel, and Scooby confirms that he's had it happen. Back onto Waitrua Road, the pace picks up a bit, but they're still on a metal road and there are still some very good climbs and some tight corners to watch, as well as a possibility of some tourist traffic, particularly down the Mahaka River where there's a DOC campground. Turning back onto SH5, right at the bottom of the Titiokura Hill, Trevor puts the I shift into auto mode and, once built up a bit of speed, slips it into cruise control. Scooby set the cruise at 91 k's, and while they won't be doing that speed up here, the engine and gearbox will do all the work. It settles down in 8th, powering up this much respected steep climb at a respectable 38 k's at the lowest. At the top, it's time for Trevor to get out and give Scooby his truck back, albeit under duress. Trevor says he'd be quite happy to do a few more loads in it, but he hops out and reports he's not feeling at all like he's just driven a fully laden log unit over 20-odd k's of often rough, winding and very steep forest and backcountry gravel roads. While there's massive power underfoot, the 750 doesn't give you that feeling of pushing you back in your seat. The power is delivered so smoothly. As Trevor says to Scooby, feels a bit like an old man's truck where you just sit back and relax. There's certainly no stress, even on really trying roads.